Hi, and today I am going to be kicking off with the first video of my channel with the question, what is the law of assumption? Obviously, that's a massive topic to undertake first off the bat, but I just wanted to share with you my understanding of the law of assumption and what Neville was talking about. That's Neville Goddard, and just how I've begun to experience it in my own life as a way to kind of inspire you to get on this journey of implementing the law of assumption and reimagining reality in your own life, because it is a game changer. It's changed my life, and I know that if you implement these teachings, it'll change your life too. Before we get started, a little bit about me. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I am a qualified life coach and an author. I've written 6 books, and so I understand the power of stories and how they can impact our life, which is really what the law of assumption is about. And my passion is really, I've always been passionate about creating reality and manifestation. I've been studying these concepts since I was probably 14, which is a long time. But the law of assumption in particular, especially as taught by Neville Goddard, has been the key really to implementing some incredible changes and transforming my life. And that's why I'm here, because I'm really passionate about this, and I want to share what I have learned so that you too can implement them and change your life for the better as well. So thank you for joining me. If you'd like to subscribe, I'm going to start recording a lot more videos and sharing a lot more of these teachings and my own experience with them. So please subscribe to my channel. I'll also be offering one-on-one coaching and email coaching. So if you have a situation in your life that you would like to change and you need some support with that, you don't need it, but if you'd like it, please feel free to reach out and get in contact, because this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love doing. I do it for myself, and now I'm going to be helping others to do it for them as well. What is the law of assumption? Wow. There is so much. So I'm just going to go with what comes out, and we'll just see how this goes and see how it unfolds. But essentially, for me, the law of assumption is really about changing the way we look at reality and experience reality, knowing that we are the creators of it. And when you really get that, I know we've all heard that through the law of attraction teachings, you know, you create your reality, blah, blah, blah. But when you really get it, it's like fucking mind-blowing. There's so many different principles to it, but essentially the way I interpret it is that consciousness is the one and only reality. Now, what that means is what we are conscious of within our imagination is what gets outpictured in our reality. And this is the game changer in itself. If you just get this is already like will transform your life, because most of us, myself included, have been taught to look at reality as what's real and our imagination as what's not real. And I grew up as a daydreamer. I would be like staring off into the window and just like daydreaming, and I'd be like, Hedley, stop daydreaming, you're wasting your life. And I'm like, so we really got the message that imagination is not real and almost a waste of time, and reality is what's real, and that's what we need to be putting our focus on. Well, that is not the case. And it's so interesting that as kids, we come in with these vibrant and alive imaginations. I help out a friend with drama classes, and we teach these little kids, 5 and 6-year-olds, drama. And these kids come in and they're making up stories about like wizards and witches and princesses and castles, and their imagination is alive. And then, we start to grow up, we become teenagers, we become adults, we get jobs, we got responsibilities, and it's like the imagination takes a really like massive back seat. Like it's way at the back of the bus, completely kind of forgotten about. So the law of assumption really turns that on its head. And it's a bit of a trick because the word reality even has the word real in it. So we have been taught to think of reality as what's real and that the imagination is not. So I just want to clear that up right now, that is not the case. The imagination is reality, and what we can imagine in our minds and persist with will eventually become our reality. In law of assumption terms, or Neville Goddard would say, harden into fact. So that in itself has been a game changer for me. And it's something that you just need to sit with, because it does require, the mind kind of has a bit of a spaz out around that, where it's like, what? Like, are you saying reality not real? No, that's not exactly true. Like, what we are seeing with our senses is real, but we don't understand what's influencing it. And what is influencing it is our imagination. And the one thing I love about the law of assumption is that it's an even playing field, meaning that we all have the exact same power. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter your parents. It doesn't matter the amount of trauma that you've experienced in your life. It doesn't matter if dad left and you never heard from him again. It doesn't matter if you were abused. I mean, we all have massive trauma, and I'm not discounting that or playing it down. I've had some big traumas in my life myself. But what it does is it creates an even playing field. So whether you had a really healthy upbringing or a traumatic upbringing or somewhere in the middle upbringing, it doesn't matter. We all have the same power, and that is the power of our imagination. And by employing our imagination and using it consciously and knowing the power, first of all, knowing that we have the power and that our imagination is powerful, and then using that power wisely and consciously, by choosing the stories we tell, like choosing, really being watchful of the thoughts that we're thinking and the stories that we're telling ourselves over a period of time, then we can start to create some pretty phenomenal changes. And just, I mean, the experience that I've had in my own life, I'll start to share these with you as we go along on this journey together. But I have been studying concepts like this, not so much like this, but I've been passionate about self-development, improvement. I've done a shitload of therapy. I've read like a fuckload of books and done the workshops. Like, I've literally got the t-shirt. I pretty much designed the t-shirt and I'm wearing it. Look at me, just all over the shop. But to me, the law of assumption has been where I've experienced the biggest, most phenomenal changes in my life. And the beautiful thing about it is that when you have those changes come in, like when they show up, so you've been implementing these teachings, and then what you've been working on shows up in your reality, you start to build the confidence that yes, actually this does work. And it's like when it does come in, you feel like, yeah, I'm deserving of this. I've worked for this. I've created this. You're not sitting there kind of going, oh my God, like, am I worthy of this? This is too good to be true. None of that. Like, you realize that you're actually the one you're the writer, the director, the producer, the creator. You're the everything of your movie, as well as being the star of it. Like, and this 3D, that's your movie. So you're the creator of your movie. It's playing out on the screen of your mind. And when you get that, when you really understand that consciousness is the one and only reality, and the power of your imagination is what gets outpictured in your 3D reality, then you can start to play with it, and then you can start to have fun with it, and then you can start to make the changes that you've been wanting to make with areas of your life where you felt something might be impossible. It really is a magical and miraculous teaching. And really it's starting to implement the teachings yourself and doing the work, not just listening to the teachers, not just reading the books, but actually doing the work and doing the tech and sort of implementing their techniques, is where you start to experience changes, and then you start to build confidence and see, hang on, this does work. Now I'm going to go for bigger things. So it really is putting the emphasis back on you. So you're no longer a victim to your life. You're actually the one influencing it. And if you don't like something in your reality, you don't have to go out there and try and change it. You don't have to have that conversation with that person and be like, hey, I don't like this behavior. I think you should change it. What you can do is you go within, you shift your consciousness, you recreate it in your mind, in your imagination first, and then you wait and you exercise patience and persistence and faith. And these are qualities that you really will start to develop as you go through this process, because this is not, it can be instant. You can experience instant changes, but really what I've found is that the work is the point between a new imagined reality and your existing 3D. Because what happens when we create a new story and a new reality in our imagination, so we envision a reality or an outcome that we want to experience, and then we persist with that, so we stick with that. What we're doing is we're reprogramming our mind and our consciousness to hold that new story, to hold that new vision. It can take some time for the 3D to catch up. It's not always instant. It can take days, it can take months. I would say rarely, it can take years, but certainly in my experience, when you are consistent with the work and you're showing up to yourself every single day, it's not a huge amount of time, but there is often a certain amount of time in between the new vision being projected out and reflected back in your external reality. And that's where the work is. That's where the drama is. That's where you walk through the fire. And there are going to be days where you're like, fuck, I can't do this. This is too hard. This doesn't work. This is bullshit. And you just want to fall back into the old story and believe the reality that's coming back at you. And I've done that a few times where it's there are days where it's just hard. But then once you start to get get a bit of confidence with this stuff and a few things, you'll start to see the synchronicities happening in your life. You can really, really make some incredible changes, and I want to talk more about these in these videos. So this is just a little intro. This is just to get me started, to get you started, to get us kind of introduced to each other. I have no idea if this has made sense, but I think with these teachings, it's something that you just have to keep exposing yourself to and listening to. There's lots of great teachers out there. I just want to share my version and my interpretation of it, and hopefully that resonates with some of you, and just be one of the voices out there with sharing these amazing teachings. So I hope you stay with me. I'm going to be posting more videos about the law of assumption and Neville Goddard, and so I hope to see you next time. And if you are interested in subscribing or any coaching, you can find the details in the little box below. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.